Pas de soleil, 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 pas de soleil.
Alright, you're welcome back to this video. This video, like I've said before, is a part 2 to the previous video. So if you don't know how to cut this trouser, I've made a video already on how to cut the patterns that I'm going to place on top to cut out my fabric. So please, this is a part 2 to my previous video. Link is in the description if you've not seen that video. So to begin, let's start cutting. I have my front here. This is the front pattern. So you're going to simply make a fold with your fabric. So you see that you're going to simply make a fold. Alright, so after you have placed it, if you remember in the previous video we drafted our patterns short. So here we have to extend the length to get our trouser pattern. So to make sure it is straight, you're going to measure from the edge of your paper to where your fabric, that's this edge here, to where your paper starts from. And you can see I have a 1 inch space here. So I'm going to simply mark 1 inch to the end. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to measure the side. So here I have about 2.1 inches. So I'm going to come down, I'm going to make a mark at 2.1. This way, your pattern is going to stay straight. Okay, and then next thing we're going to do is we're going to mark the trouser length from here all the way down. So, trouser length is 41 inches. I'm going to add 2 inches of allowance to that number. So I'm marking it at 43 inches. Now, I'm going to connect all my lines together. So here I have made a fold for my back, the back of my fabric. So I'm going to simply place this on, and I'm going to do exactly what I did in the front. Okay, I'm going to place my weight on it. I'm going to mark the edge of it here, and I'm going to mark this other side, and then I'm going to go ahead to cut it out. All right. Alright, so now on this channel I have taught you guys how to make different types of pockets. So for this video I'm going to show you guys, I believe I've even showed you guys a patch pocket before, but I would still show you now nonetheless. On this trouser we're using patch pockets for the pockets that will sit in front of it. So the first thing we're going to do for the patch pockets is I'm going to cut 11 inches by 8 inches, alright? So I want you first to fold 11 by 8. Now you see me putting the fabric on a fold. I'm putting it on a fold because I want to cut 2 pockets at the end of the day. I want you to come to one side of it, so just pick any corner on the 8 inches, alright? And then we're going to come in by 4 inches and make a mark. Then you're going to come down by 6 inches and you're going to make a mark. And then with this we have created the curve for the pockets. So now for how we would finish this edge here, you have 2 options. You can either use bias, like a bias that you can buy at the market, or you can cut a bias out of your fabric. So in case you don't know how to cut a bias, you pick out your fabric. The fabric is going to have two sides. There's going to be the horizontal, which might stretch a little. There's going to be the vertical, like mine is not stretching at all, and there's going to be the diagonal. So if you are trying to cut a bias out of your fabric, you are going to cut diagonally. So you see this, you can see this is an angle. I'm cutting diagonally. You see that this is going to have a lot of stretch. What you do is this, you're going to put this one here underneath, bring this one here, place it on top. You want to balance them at the top part over here. You want to balance them at the top part over here. And then we are going to cut this curve, this edge here, to do the same. Alright, so I've gone ahead to create my first pocket. So this is what the first pocket, this is what the pocket is going to look like. This is what we're trying to do. But for the first step is we're going to finish our pocket. So you see the way I use that fabric that we cut diagonally to hem it. Let me show you how I did this one. This is the very first step. Alright, so you're going to just take your bias, you place the front side of the bias facing the front side of your fabric, and we're going to stitch 1/2 inch all the way around the edge. After I have done this, the next thing I'm going to do is on the edge here, I'm going to bend 1/2 inch and iron all the way to the end of the bias. Alright, so after I hemmed here, I'm now going to fold here on top of here, and I'm going to top stitch, covering this rough stitch that we have, this rough inner part that we have here. After I stitch here, I'm going to turn over and I'll stitch on the edge to give it a double line. Now I'm going to go and iron all of here perfectly flat, and then I'm going to fold the edge I have here by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to iron the bottom by 1/2 inch as well. Alright, so I'll be back. Alright, so after making this fold, you can see I folded 1/2 inch down here and up here. I'm now going to start stitching from up here, make an L and come out. I would make a double stitch to hold this pocket onto the body. Alright, so after installing my pockets, I'm going to go ahead to use my overlocker to finish both sides of my trouser. I'll do this on both sides of the front and on both sides of the back as well. I won't finish the top and the hem. I'm just going to finish the crotch area, the hip area on both the front and on the back, and then I'll be back. Alright, so after you've used your overlocker, the next thing that you are supposed to do, or that you're going to do, is you're going to need to make your zipper fly. You're going to need to attach your zipper to your trouser. Now I've made a video, a standalone video on how to make how to install a zipper fly. I'm going to drop a link to that video in the description. So I'm going to go ahead, create my zipper, install my zipper, and then I'll be back so that we can join the front and the back together. Alright, so here I have created my zipper fly. As you can see, I did a double stitch in front so that it matches everything else. The next thing we're going to do after you have done the zipper fly, please remember a video on how to create your zipper fly is going to be in the description. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to need to hold the darts on the back. After you hold the darts, if you have an overlocker, if you have a weaving machine, make sure to finish all sides. But what I'm going to do is at the middle of the back, I'm going to hold a 4.5 inch dart going down. Alright, so just fold the waist in half, and then I'm going to hold the darts going all the way down 4.5 inches. Alright, after you have attached your darts, next thing I want you to do is I want you to join the front and the back together on the side, consuming half an inch. Alright, just half an inch. Alright, after you've made this stitch to join the front to the back, next thing I want you to do, I want you to push all of your excess onto the back pattern, and you're going to stitch from here all the way to the bottom, both on the left and on the right. Alright, so you're making a top stitch here. Alright, so on to creating the back pocket. So the first thing I did was I cut 7.5, alright, 7.5 by 8.5, alright. So 7.5 by 8.5. On the 8.5, I'm going to bend half an inch at the top, and then I'm going to fold another half an inch, or you can do half an inch and fold 1 inch, whichever way you want. It's still going to be fine at the end of the day. I'm going to fold half an inch twice, iron it, and then I will be back to show you the next step. Alright, so I folded half an inch twice. I'm now going to stitch on the top 2 times, so one at the bottom to hold it in place and one at the top as a decorative stitch. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this in half. I'm going to iron it. Alright, fold this in half and iron it. I'll be back. Next thing I'm going to do, after I have ironed it in half, I'm going to come to the bottom. I'm going to mark off 1 inch over here. That's on the outer part of it. And then I'm going to cut from here out to that 1 inch. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go and fold half inch everywhere. So I'm going to fold this corner here by half an inch and iron, half an inch and iron. The bottom too, I will do the same thing, half inch here, half inch here, and then I will be back. Alright, so the next thing you're going to do, you're going to come to this line that you have here. You're going to come 4 inches away from the waistline, and from here you're going to come 2 inches in, make a mark here. So 4 inches from the waistline, 2 inches away from the edge, and that is where you're going to place the edge of your back pocket. Now whatever I do here, make sure to do on the other side as well. Alright. So that's how you go. That's how you go around fixing the back pockets. For me, I'm going to put only one back pocket on this side, and then next step is for us to fix. I want to put another pocket around the lower part of the thigh that's going to sit here. So let me give you the measurements for that. So now for the pockets that would sit around the just before the knee, I cut this to be 8 inches wide. So it's 8 inches wide by 8.5. Now on the part that is 8.5, I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to fold twice and I'm going to hem the top parts. So let me do that. So here I have prepared the back pockets, the lower thigh pockets, like I did the back pocket. So but keep this aside first. You can see the double stitch running at the top over there. Next thing I'm going to do is you are going to need to cut another piece. Now this piece is going to be the flap that will cover the pocket. This here is 8 inches wide by 5 inches. Okay, so I want you to fold this front side in, okay, and when you fold it, I want you to leave half an inch at the top like I have done now. So fold it like this, alright, and iron it. Let me go and iron it, I will be back. And then next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew half an inch on both sides, alright. Leave the half inch on top like so. Sew half an inch on both sides. Alright, after you've done that, you're going to need to turn everything inside out. And you're going to iron it. So I'm going to head over to my ironing table and I'm going to iron this now. Alright? So after you have ironed it flat, you're going to come to the front. So you see this here is the back. You're going to come to the front, which is here, and you're going to do 2 decorative stitches around here. Alright, so the next thing you're going to do, just simply fold this half inch that we kept. Remember, we kept half inch up here, so you fold it down, iron it flat, and bring your trouser to the table next. Alright? Now, the main reason why we kept this half inch like this without here extending to the top is so that we'll be dealing with a reduced amount of thickness at this point here. So what you're going to do is this: you're going to come to this pocket that we have here. You're going to come 1 inch after the pocket. Alright, you're going to come 1 inch after the pocket, and you're going to place this cover on top of here. Check and see by measuring here. So we have approximately 6 inches, so I'm going to place 3 inches in the center of the line. So you measure from here to here, place the middle of that number on this line. Next thing I'm going to do, so I'm going to simply stitch across 2 times to hold this cover here in place. Alright, so now this is the cover, this is the pocket that we stitched. So you want to place it after the joining that you have here, and then simply just stitch around it. Now that is the technique. It's now left to you to use it however you want. You can put as many pockets as you want on your combat trouser, but that's how you go about it basically. Alright, so now let me stitch around. So yep, that's it. We have a patch pocket. So let's keep stitching. What we're going to do next is you're going to join the both sides of the leg together. So you're going to take the thigh. You see this here? You're going to take the thigh and you're going to join the same thigh together. Left thigh on left thigh, right thigh on right thigh, from here all the way down. Alright? So here we have the front coming from the zipper fly running into the back. Remember, we stopped before we got to the joining. I want you to continue this joining now all the way into the back, but I want you to stop 4 inches before you get to the waistline, that's to the top. Alright, keep sewing this half inch all the way across. So you can see this is 4 inch before the waistline. If I turn to the front, you can see that we have created the trouser. This is the top pocket. We have the side pocket here, and if I flip it over, you can see we have the back pocket. So the next thing will be to create our trouser loops and to install our band. Alright, so before we move on to anything else, we are going to hem our pants. So we are going to come over to the bottom. We are going to fold half an inch first, and then you're going to fold 1 inch, and you're going to iron all the way around. So let me go and do that, and I'll be back. So here you can see that I have hemmed 1/2 inch before I folded 1 inch. I'm now going to stitch from here all the way around. Alright, so with that, I've hemmed the bottom of the trouser. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install my band. Now as for the band, I've made a dedicated video on everything that has to do with bands. I'm going to also link that in the description. You've seen the trouser at the beginning of the video. That's the trouser when it's completed. So if you've watched this far, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Do have a lovely day. Let me install this band, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.